Today's episode of the Natural Habitat Podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Audible.com is the #1 leading source for audiobooks online. You already...
Not the number 2.
It's not number 2, not number 5. It's number 1 and number 3 and number 4 in audiobooks. And you know how they work because you're listening to a podcast. And that's pretty much an audiobook in a certain sense, I guess.
Of sorts.
Yeah. So, you go to Audible.com. You can get a 30-day free trial if you use the code. And you could get one of my favorite books that I'm listening to right now is Star Wars Bloodline by Claudia Gray. It's read by January Lavoie. And you could get that with your free 30-day trial at Audible.com. So go there today. Let them know that the Natural Habitat Podcast sent you. And start enjoying your free audiobook now.
Do it now.
Mm-hmm. So, we got a special guest in the house today. It is Tuesday Interviews Day, and we have Illtext.
What?
Mm-hmm. He is a rapper, he is a producer, and he is also an actor. So, we're going to talk about all of those things. Different assets of his career and his life. Aspects is what I meant to say, and not assets. I'm not talking about his assets or his jugs or anything like that. We're gonna be talking about aspects of his career. So let's get into that before I say anything else ridiculous.
Natural Habitat Podcast. Habitat Podcast. The Natural Habitat Podcast.
Hello, boys and girls. It's a beautiful day here in California. Thank you for tuning in to the Natural Habitat Podcast. My name is Mikey Booyah.
My name is Braille.
Braille. Is your name in Braille or is your name Braille?
Oh, no. Yeah. See, find out.
All right. Well, that doesn't matter. What does matter is Hollywood Nights, because we are living them Hollywood Nights right now. This is a rare occasion when we are recording an episode of the podcast at nighttime.
What?
Something we don't do. I think Bats Week started rubbing off on us, and we got nocturnal. And now here we are. So we have a special guest in the house today. But before we get to him, we have him on hold. I found out recently that MTV, you know the channel MTV?
No.
It's a channel on television. They show, a lot of reality TV show, a lot of, I want to say like maybe Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Real World, reruns of Fifth Wheel, that old dating show, shit like that.
Never heard of it.
Back in the day, they used to play music. It used to be called music television. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, music television. And they used to play music videos all the time. They used to have TRL. They used to have music news on the 8s, 8 minutes to the hour and shit with Kurt Loder, all that shit. Well, I found out that MTV turned 30 just recently. It actually just turned 35 because its 30th anniversary was in 2011, and they did not celebrate their 30th anniversary.
What?
So what happened was...
Wait, what year?
This was 2011. So when they turned 20 in 2001, they hosted an entire day of nostalgia, which included a 12-hour special. They had a whole Limp Bizkit fucking live thing, a 3-hour concert, and then on the 25th anniversary, they reproduced the entire first hour of the MTV programming as a special on their website. So you could go and see the first hour of ever MTV broadcasts. That's not how you say that. Mix those words around and make them make sense. But in 2011... the station had already gotten so far away from music and shit that they didn't want to break up their scheduled programming to do anything about their anniversary, so they just skipped it, and they don't care at all. They don't give a fuck. They don't even care about their birthday.
You're corporate, bro. What do you expect?
See, myself, I'm turning 30 this month. So what kind of faith is that supposed to give me as a 30-year-old?
I'm going to tell you what kind of faith.
Lay it on me.
Actually, I'm going to save it.
It's okay. Well, either way, shame on you, MTV.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer for us that actually grew up with it. You're right. It is kind of a bummer. Yeah. It is kind of a letdown, but none of us are really intact with that shit anymore.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Everything evolves, so.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at.
There's
We're
YouTube
going to be
now.
corporate one day. We're going to be a corporate podcast one day. We're going to take over the world.
I'm wearing a suit right now on this Hollywood night.
We fucking seen the future, if you don't remember. It's happening.
Yeah, you're right.
But anyways, so yeah, I get it. Fuck.
Yeah, it just it reminded me of it because our guest today, we were watching some of the videos that they have on YouTube of the pilots for their TV series. It's called What's Good or What's Jood.
Yeah, that shit is What's Good.
Yeah, that shit is fucking off the hook. I highly recommend it. There's gonna be links for it in the description, so check it out. But the style that they have and all the colors that they wear, it really reminded me of that old MTV Splash logo. So, it reminded me of it, and I just wanted to shame MTV real quick before we got into this. So,
that's what's up.
So you ready?
Let me think about it.
You know what? I'm going to answer that for you. We're not ready because we got to have a smoke sesh.
No.
Did we have a smoke sesh with him in the future that we haven't recorded yet?
No, we didn't. So you're right.
Yeah.
Let's fucking do this shit.
We got to do it. You know what? It just needs to be done. It's one of those corporate things that corporate makes us do. They're like, look, guys, this is no longer a pleasure thing where you're getting high and having fun. You do this for work now, so you need to smoke your mandatory weeds. That's what they said.
I heard it.
Mm-hmm. So I got the perfect song to smoke to.
All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and cue it up. Everybody out there, feel free to smoke with us. Flick your bics, snap your pics, hashtag them NHP Smoke Sesh. Oh shit! That got me.
If I was an alien, that'd be the dance I'd do. It'd be the probe dance.
The finger probe dance. Where you look like you're John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. Kind of just all high on heroin, fucking swinging around.
Correction. Not sure which way I'm supposed to look.
One of the greatest dance scenes in cinema, hands down. In my opinion, it's dope.
Not bad.
All right, let's see if Illtext is still on the line.
Probably.
All right, I need to take a breath though. That dab got me. All right, let's do it. All right, we have Illtext on the line. Can you hear me, my friend?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you for taking the time out of your day to come on the show. We really appreciate it. So for people that
it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You recently have linked up with my co-host Joey here, and you've been working together on some stuff. And I heard a song that you guys have been putting together called "Foolishness." And
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That was my first introduction to you. So, for people that are unfamiliar with you, why don't you give like a little introduction of what it is that you do?
All right, nice. Well, my name is Illtext, and I'm the owner of Trap-A-Lot Records, Trap-A-Lot Mafia, and it's now Trap-A-Lot Unlimited. I've also been a member of the Zulu Nation and Temple of Hip Hop for a bunch of years, and just been like a beat maker and an Emcee for about 20 years. Used to do graffiti, and now I mostly just run this label on SoundCloud with a bunch of different affiliates. I work with the Hella Network and the Tree Tribe and I Am So High Records, and I have a couple different production crews and rap crews, and I just like to wear a lot of hats and work on a lot of different music things as much as possible.
Nice. So it sounds like you're pretty spread out, like you got all the bases covered, and it sounds like you've been doing this for a while. How long have you like been in the game?
Yeah, well, I turned 40 years young this year, and I've been rapping for like 22 years. Been probably making beats for 15. Been running Trap-A-Lot Records for almost coming up on 6 years this year on SoundCloud. And
congrats, man. You know, these are the type of accolades that give everybody hope, you know? Like this is super commendable for you to still be like doing your thing. You know what I mean? It gives me hope, and it gives everybody hope, I'm sure, because like I've been trying to tell everybody the same thing. It's never too late to do what you want to do.
Yeah, and the way that everything is now, it's all online. You could build your own community. You could build your own following. There's no need for the old school record deals and shit.
Yeah. You've been doing it forever, and same with all of us, you know? Like people like us that just never gave up. You know what I mean? It shows that it's all worth it.
yeah, man, I really believe this. Like hip hop, especially, and you know, for years now, dubstep and EDM and trap is just like in my heart. And like if I wake up in the morning and I decide not to look at music or listen to music or work on music today, then I'm not on the path. I'm like going the wrong way that I've not intended to go.
Yeah.
So I just like wake up some days and it's hard. It's struggle. It's like,
yeah,
I'm old and I haven't broken all the way out and I haven't had a #1 single. I don't have a track out on Mad Decent, but like, you know, I keep studying music. I'm a student and I'm always looking at new things, and I find pieces of music that always inspire me to keep me going.
Uh-huh. That's dope.
Yeah, that's legit, man.
And you know, it really all came from samples originally. Like me and Locks were talking this morning. He was like, yeah, man, my first beat I ever made was the Godfather sample, and I made it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was so dope. Like, I was just like excited to see that. And I completely understand where he's coming from. It's
yeah, he used to fucking flip samples like the best of them. He was like, that was his thing back in the day. And that's just like another testament to how the game is constantly evolving, right? Like no matter where you start or like what is your inspiration or whatnot, you are going to evolve into where you're supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, Look at Lox is a perfect example. He started out making sample type beats, like very like East Coast style beats. Like you couldn't fucking tell the difference. And honestly, he was doing it better than some at a really young age, at like 19 or some shit. And he was fucking killing it. And then now he evolved all the way into synth and like 100% original electronic scores and shit, you know? So it's like, it's just, you never know where the game's going to take you. You know what I mean? It's really all about a feeling. And like, if you're able to like evolve and change with it, you're always going to stay like semi-relevant, you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So do you have something, a piece from your childhood, something that you remember hearing or seeing? For me, it was 2 Live Crew. My sister put me on a 2 Live Crew, and that got me into hip hop and birthed this whole thing. And was there something like that for you?
Yeah, there was. It was the first generation of MTV, Kurt Loder, those folks, like neon colors, the crazy big M splashing, and then Run DMC and the Beastie Boys. So it was Fight for Your Right to Party and Walk This Way.
That's dope.
And those tracks were just like, I was like, what the hell is this shit? Like, why does it give me this different feeling than other music? Yeah. I mean, at that point, I was listening to like Prince and Madonna and Peter Gabriel and Genesis and like all these dope 80s bands that I thought were the shit at the time.
All classics.
But the Run DMC and Beastie Boys gave me a feeling that was way beyond. It was like a spine tingle.
Yeah.
And so at the time I didn't have money. I went to the store, I boosted both cassettes and popped it in my Sony Walkman. And I just like played those over and over. And like really fast, my other music started to kind of sidestep. And I started like, all right, well, where is hip hop before this? So I started digging in and boosting all sorts of tapes, EPMD and Eric B. and Rakim and all sorts of older shit that I was like, you know, what are these guys doing on this Mercedes with these bucket hats? Back to Business. What is this album? You know, picking out old shit.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So like, you know,
birth that curiosity.
Tapes really started to just inspire me, and then I just became a head. It was over. I was done.
So how long was it between the time that you were introduced to it and the time that you started creating music yourself? And did you start writing? Did you start making beats? What was your first your introduction into behind the scenes of the hip hop community?
Well, it first started with graffiti art when I was like 9. And I had a little crew, and we were tagging and doing like quick throw ups, like 2 or 3 color throw ups, and drinking crazy Mountain Dew and skateboarding and just running around and shit.
Yeah.
And I was listening to like Naughty by Nature and like that, like Rap City kind of era of hip hop when it really started to get dope. Like from like when the mayor was running it, and like when after MTV Raps had kind of faded a little bit, but Rap City was like BET was still holding it down. And I was listening to like Cypress Hill, a lot of Cypress Hill. And at that point, nobody really knew Cypress Hill. I was living in upstate New York, and people were like, this guy sounds like a mouse with that nasal vocal.
Yeah.
They were like, this is shit. And I'm like, this is the next shit you all get to recognize. And then boom, it was like all over MTV and all these places. And Redman came out on the cover of High Times, and like weed culture definitely permeated into hip hop in this epic way that I saw come in from the ground.
So from a East Coast standpoint, who was the first West Coast artist like widely accepted over there?
I mean, for me, it was Ice Cube. For sure, like Ice Cube, just like America's Most Wanted, that album like really changed things for me. And it was like, it was almost too, go ahead.
I think he always like showed love to the East Coast too.
He did. And he like did collabs with East Coast artists and really tried to bring it around, I feel like, on some level. And he was super dope with the samples and crazy militant and hard as fuck. And it was just like, my mom would freak out when I was listening to it. It was that kind of music that was just like,
hell yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's always something I'm curious about, because it's the opposite over here, you know, like the first type of East Coast shit that you find out here, like everything is very, there's a wall, you know what I mean? Like you love West Coast shit or you don't. You know, you love East Coast shit or you don't. You know what I mean? And out here, it was very, like, one-sided growing up. But then once you, like, start to form your own likes and shit, then you start to find these other things. And for me, the first thing was Gangstar. First thing I really, like, attracted to was definitely Gangstar and DJ Premier. And that really, like, set the East Coast tone for me.
That's interesting that you're saying that, because for me, like, so I started doing graffiti at 9, and then I started freestyling at about like 13 or 14, like 40 ounces of Old English, Phillies blunts on the corner. My parents moved me from Boston to New York at that age, and dropped me basically into the ghetto without even knowing where they were moving. My dad got a scholarship to Cornell University, and it was esteemed, prestigious school in this small little town in upstate New York. And the house is beautiful, but the neighborhood was just shit.
Yeah.
And so at a very young age, I was like inundated into this ghetto culture, and it was like hip hop and freestyling and drinking 40s on the corner and
real shit.
So I just, I started learning all the lyrics to all the songs and all the tapes I had. And like Redman, DOS Effects, those were ones that I was really like, I need to know all the words on these tapes. These are like epic lyricists, and I need to know these. So I just sit in the basement and tap my hands on the counter and try to follow the beat and just try to learn all the words.
Uh-huh.
And then one day, somebody else's words turned into my own words, and I spit out like 4 or 5 lines. And I was just like, okay, that was not somebody else's track. And so then I just started looking for instrumentals, trying to find anything I could, tapes or vinyl with an instrumental single on it. At that point, I didn't have a computer.
Yeah, it was hard.
There was no way for me to get it unless I bought the single at the cassette store.
Yeah, that was really the only way.
And at that point, there wasn't even any CDs. So and I didn't have turntables. My dad did have a record player, but he was very like, you can't touch my record player. You're going to scratch on it. You're going to ruin it. You can't touch it. But, I started freestyling on the corner with the homies, and just like, I'd spit a few bars and spit a few bars and spit a few bars. And then I'd come in with half a verse. And then I came in at one point and just spit like 32 bars, and just everybody went crazy, and they're, what? It's full coming out. And that was that first feeling. And I was just like, okay, this is what I'm doing.
It's contagious. It's super infectious, and you definitely like feed off of the feeling in the room or wherever you're at the time. It's super contagious. I think that was like one of the most important parts for me too, was coming up is freestyling, because that sets the tone of like how you're going to be a rapper if you're going to be a real rapper, I mean, like, a lot of people can write and rap too, but I mean, like, if you can freestyle, you're a real rapper, I think it was like important.
I would agree. And some people don't think they need to have those stripes in their repertoire, and they're okay with that. But like, for me, I freestyled for probably 11 years before I ever wrote anything at all.
Yeah.
That was how it was. It was just like Cypher. I had like 2 other homies that I used to rap with all the time, and one of them was always around. So me and him were always kicking shit.
Yeah.
And then I was always kicking shit in the car on the way to work and
everywhere, every day.
Right. At that point, I had some of the homies piece together a couple beat tapes for me of like instrumentals from vinyl recorded to cassette. And then I had like, 4 or 5 beat tapes. And so I rocked those until the wheels on the tape fell off.
Yeah. So when do you think like you got serious about it and started like chasing, like making music?
I mean, it was back in my hometown in Ithaca, New York is when I really first started. Me and my homie Seth, same name as me, who went to Cornell University, me and him started a group called The Chosen Few. And it was Fuse and Illtext, and we scammed our way in with Ithaca College somehow with somebody that was taking a music class, and we recorded like a demo, like a 3-track demo.
Dope, that's some ninja shit.
Yeah,
it was some ninja shit, and I don't even remember how we did it, and I was still in awe. But after it was done,
you got to do what you got to do to get it done.
That's what I'm saying. It's all about the ninja route. That was one of my things growing up is I was always so high driving around that I was extra paranoid. So I would always drive these like back road ninja routes, and I'd always be like 20 minutes late coming to people's houses and shit. And they'd be like, what happened? I was like, I had to take the ninja route. Yeah. They're out.
Sorry, man.
12's everywhere.
That's funny.
At least either I got here 20 minutes later, or I didn't get here at all.
Mm-hmm. Shit. Yep. But if you don't pull the ninja shit sometimes, then you don't make these steps and experience these things And sometimes you get arrested if you don't take the ninja route and you take the main road. That's no good.
That's it. And in upstate New York at that point, there were checkpoints that they'd pull people over and like check for registration and insurance, and is your inspection sticker good in the window? And at that point, if you've been chiefing in the car for 6 years, you're probably going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
There was one time where I got pulled into one of those, and I was far enough back in the roadblock that I was able to spin around and get away.
Oh shit!
Because they had so many people stopped.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like smoking in the car when I got stopped in this. And I'm like, luckily there was 30 cars ahead of me, so I just like slipped out.
That's how it always happens, and I'm the same way. And let me ask you this honestly: have you learned your lesson? Because I have not.
Well,
I still smoke in the car all the time.
Here's the thing, bros. I live in Florida now.
Yeah.
And like super conservative, and there's lots of old people, and the cops are kind of dicks.
Yeah.
And it's 1,000,000 degrees, and like, I don't know. I don't have the wherewithal out here to smoke like I used to, like driving around.
Mm-hmm.
I was just in Cali for my boy's birthday in Oakland like 3 weeks ago. And like, I love the feeling of like rolling up a huge Bob Marley and driving down the street and smoking it without worrying at all. Love that feeling. And my friends in Cali do that very much. And when I'm out there, it happens like that.
Yeah. We kind of take
a medical license and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. We take it for granted here.
Right. But out here, I don't even really go out in public and smoke. I'm like kind of conservative. I don't know. It's weird.
Got to adapt to your environment.
Mm-hmm. Do they?
But yeah, I still like to smoke and at the house and shit. I usually wait. I usually caffeinate really hard and work on music for a couple hours, and then eat a healthy lunch, and then start to get my drink on in the middle, 5 or 6 o'clock, and then smoke at like 7 is like my lifestyle these days.
Yeah, it's a good formula.
Yeah. No,
but like recently I've been waking up way too early. I don't like that shit. So I've been smoking at like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Recently, like 3 or 4 days in a row. And that happened again today. And I didn't go back to sleep because all these things started popping. And it was good. I felt in the flow.
Nice.
Yeah. That's good.
It's a crazy thing that you come from such a hip hop background and then ended up doing electronic shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, basically what happened for me is I heard Game Face and Hoochie, those two producers. And I was just like, so this sounds like an instrumental hip hop track, but it's not.
But it's not. It's a little different. Yeah.
It's a little different. It's a little heavier on the bass. It's a little more rugged. It's got something different going. Mm-hmm. And so I started studying those artists in particular, and like it just opened up the world of trap for me.
Yeah, and then the rest just sucks you in from there.
Well, yeah, I have like a few crews. Me and my blood cousin William, we started a crew called the Street Composers, like 14 years ago or something like that. And then that crew changed over to the name Crunk Sauce Villains as the years went through. Mm-hmm. And we produced a lot of like doo-wop sample trap music. And like that, me and him together kind of really studied that Hoochie kind of simplistic eloquence is what I would call Hoochie style.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's like, it's really simple, but it's really dope and it grabs you, but there's not much to it.
Like the Dr. Dre of EDM.
Dr. Dre of EDM. I like that. Speaking of Dr. Dre, like I said, that Ice Cube really grabbed me. Well, original NWA stuff grabbed me, around the same time. I didn't find stuff in the right order because I was young and on the East Coast and didn't have any references. Uh-huh. But I found the NWA stuff, and then when the Chronic dropped is when I felt this kind of merger between East and West Coast, because everybody on the East Coast with subwoofers in their trunk was bumping the Dre album.
Yeah, I'm sure, because that shit pounded ridiculous.
That's what I'm saying. And it was like all these East Coast fools that was definitely Mobb Deep, Gangstar, Wu-Tang doing this. Yeah. And bumping this heavy 808, whistles and shit, man. It's like, what the fuck?
So funny.
Mm-hmm.
We stacked up 40 ounces in the fridge with Snoop Dogg in the video.
Snoop's so hard.
I remember playing craps in the kitchen, and me and my homies had just spent $100 on 22s of Old English because they were 99 cents at the little liquor store right around the corner in the hood. And I felt so G in the kitchen smoking some mids or even trash at that point, sicking swag. And 22 ounces of Old English. We were like,
hell yeah,
boy.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Plenty of craps games in my childhood.
Yeah, it's funny.
Man, craps in the back and Mario Kart 4-player in the front.
Yeah, because it was a competition, huh? Always.
It was a competition, and I usually got smacked in Mario Kart, so I'd play more craps, and these boys would be stoked, and I'd be like, "Yeah, I just won money. What did you guys do? Hurt your thumbs?"
You're like, "Yeah, grow up, babies."
But I don't know how much time we have. I had a couple things I wanted to tap in on. Do I got a couple minutes here?
Yeah, we're good.
Go ahead.
All right, so right now I'm working on an album with Cali Boy. You guys know Cali Boy?
Yeah.
And I got an album with him called A Scraper and a Hustle that's pretty much done that I'm about to drop soon, so I wanted to shout him out in that project.
Nice. Yeah, he's dope. We need to get him on the show, too.
Yeah, man, he's around, and he just moved back to the Bay, and he's just got himself resituated. He's been a little out of touch, but I'm sure
I
he'd
know.
be down
He
to
was
do it.
where was he at? He was in Atlanta or like somewhere like that?
Yeah, he went to Atlanta because he had some troubles where he was at in the Bay, and his wife's mom was out there, and then it never really panned out for him in Atlanta, even though he tried really damn hard to make it go, and he ended up back in the Bay. So I think he's starting to get his groove back up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
good news.
So that's
that
so.
project.
When is do you have like a release date or any sort of expected time for that?
Well, I had it all set up, and then this other producer that I was working with out of Los Angeles, his name is Ham on the Low, and we were going to collaborate on a couple tracks and kind of put it together with tracks he had done with Cali Boy, and that seemed to fall apart a little bit because Ham was way too busy. So I'm reformulating the release. I think I'm going to drop it on Dat Piff as a free record, and then we're going to do at least one video for YouTube for the album.
Nice.
So it's done. It's 11 tracks, all produced by me. It's got a couple of his homies from the Bay, Mac Jules and Aki on the record. It's definitely a hard hood trap album with a Bay Area kind of Vallejo feel.
Nice.
Dope.
Very cool.
So is this going to be released on your label?
Well, it's probably going to be under Trap a Lot. I don't really have that exactly figured out yet, unless somebody else wants to help me put it out. Mm-hmm. I'm doing A&R for a new label. It's called the Hella Network out of the Bay, and they have a new page called the Hella Rap page. So I just started doing A&R for them, and this track that I did with Joey, the Foolishness track, is supposed to be for that page. I'm still waiting for my dude Jeremy to approve it. He's been hella busy, but the Hella Rap page is hella new, so we're hella trying to stack up some hella tracks.
Dope. Well,
that's what's up.
Let us know.
Them.
Let us know when it comes out, and we'll hella promote it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And Mikey, you got one of my beats right from when I sent for Joey for a track.
Well, no, not yet. I'm gonna have you make him one specifically.
Okay.
If you would be down to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of style are you looking for, bro?
I like the real, like, simple kind of like West Coast kind of feel, and more like on the darker side. All I need is a reference of
we'll
like rent shit. Like what are you thinking?
We'll throw you some examples after the show.
Yeah, that sounds good, man.
All right, cool.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But when that actually brings me to, when did you start actually producing music? Because, you know, you talked about how you got into freestyling and writing and stuff, but what actually got you into producing?
Right. So I got really inspired by producers like Havoc, DJ Premier, Pete Rock, Lord Finesse, Showbiz, and AG. That's like where I first got inspired. So I started crate digging a couple years, maybe 2 or 3 years before I started making beats. It was like I started to formulate it. It was like I was like, the next step is I need beats. And I don't want to be rapping on other people's beats. I don't want to do mixing everybody else's beats. So I purchased an MPC 2000 XL, and I tried to make beats on it, and me and the machine didn't interface. And I had a couple people teach me, and I tried to read the 700,000 page manual, and I made a couple of shoddy beats, and I was just like,
not feeling it.
I don't know. This is not. It's all a little trimming with the spinning of the wheel and all that shit. It was just like, this is not fluid. So my homie was like, well, I got this program Reason. It's pretty simple. I can show you how to do it. I can give you a copy for free and install it on your computer. And I was like, I just gotten my first computer, which is like a Dell home computer. Bought it for $100 on Craigslist. It was like used from some office company.
Nice.
And pristine condition, no viruses or anything. Big old box.
No porn allowed.
And so I had a bunch of samples. I had a bunch of records and a bunch of CDs stacked up. So I started just throwing them into Reason and figuring out how to loop them. And Reason at that point didn't have any time stretching capabilities. So you basically, and there was no BPM counters. So I had to by ear find the loops and like move up and down with the tempo until I found the right loop. And that was daunting. Sometimes it would work really well. Sometimes it wouldn't work at all. And that's pretty much how I started doing that. And then snapping samples from records. I didn't have any kits. There was no drum kits. There was no like, here's a snare and kick kit. There was like, well, you could take this one from right here, this James Brown break from over there. So I started just chopping up snares and kicks from everywhere and building like my own drum kit.
So it's safe to say that you pretty much taught yourself how to do everything.
Pretty much. I had a couple homies give me Reason and show me how to loop a sample. And here's the drum machine.
And then just kind of dove in.
And kind of dove in. And at that point, there was a little group that I was part of. I can't even remember the name of these fools in San Francisco. But the name of the band turned into the Survivalist Project eventually. And the kid, JD, in the group, he was the producer at the time. And there was this other kid, Morph, who was the other MC. And JD was making all the beats. And in like 3 weeks, I had just like surpassed him on the production game. And they were like, well, you're the producer of the band now. And I was like, okay, well, shit, I'm down for it. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, like, different programs attract different people, different machines, different, you know, and not everything's for everybody. I know a lot of people that really rock out on those machines and then maybe not be so good at the program. And then I know a lot of program ninjas that could just like do 2 seconds, fucking knock everything out on the track. You know what I mean? And it's like really nothing for them. So it's like, you know, I think everybody gravitates towards like what's good for them. You know what I mean? Like, you know what attracts you and you work towards whatever your path is. Like I said, everybody's path is different.
Well, and with the MPC, I couldn't see anything. You know what I'm saying? It's this little tiny screen and it's little black and white. And I couldn't visualize it right. So like with Reason, it put it in the box and I could see it on the screen. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this makes a lot more sense. And then from Reason, years and years of being annoyed that I couldn't do certain things, and then getting my cousin to start making beats on Fruity Loops. Yeah. I quick taught myself how to make a beat on Fruity Loops, and then taught my cousin how to make beats on Fruity Loops, and found that Fruity Loops had way more capabilities, super dope time stretching and all these effects and shit that Reason didn't have. And I'm like, but like this program sucks. That's what so many people say that it sucks. You know what I'm saying? There was like, dude, Fruity Loops is whack, bro. Fruity Loops is whack. And then Ninth Wonder came out and crushed the whole game with Fruity Loops and like showed all these boom bap producers that you can really get nasty in the box. And then Respect for Fruity Loops came up a whole nother level.
Yeah,
because he was co-signing it.
It's still up there too. A lot of big producers use it.
Well, and it is, and I'm still in the same place that I was years ago. Is I know how to make beats in Fruity Loops, but it's not fluid for me. It doesn't. I get lost because there's all these sub windows and all the effects windows stay open, and I just get annoyed. Yeah. So through that process of Reason and Fruity Loops and my cousin, I discovered Ableton Live, and I hacked at Ableton Live for 2 years before I fully found out how to like work it well and do time stretching and do all this stuff. And about 2 years into fucking with it, I was like, all right, I'm gonna take a deep breath. I'm gonna delete Reason off my computer and never go back. Trash, gone.
Ableton's legit though.
And I was scared. To be honest. I was definitely shaking in my shoes that I was gonna get lost but it's definitely been the most amazing path. And Ableton is legit all the way around.
Yeah.
From DJing to beat making to mastering and mixing and recording vocals. I do everything all in the same program, and you can't beat that. There's nothing that people can tell me that would make me want to go someplace else.
Yeah.
I've tried Logic, and it's too techie for me, and Cubase, I don't really know about the layout.
Yeah, you gotta kind of know them.
Yeah, that's
what do you guys
What's
I
that?
don't produce. I just rap, so I don't fuck with anything.
What are you recording?
Oh, I just recording.
Yeah, that's a. It's funny. It's funny that you ask because I dabble in production a little bit in Fruity Loops and mess around, but I record this podcast with old programs that I used from my childhood when I first got a computer and started recording in like a home studio. I use Audacity and Acoustica. And those are my main, I use Audacity to record it. That's a simple recorder. And it'll do all the noise cancellation and all the background stuff, all of my compression, anything like that. And then do all of the mixing in Acoustica. And then I do like a final mastering in Fruity Loops. So all these programs are free. I went out, got them on the internet. I've had them for years and years, and I use them because I know how to use them. And it's not the best program, but I get a good sound out of it. So it's all about what you're comfortable with,
Yep.
I feel that 100%.
You're the only person I've had on here that I could say that to and actually be like, not be like, shut the fuck up, Mikey. I don't understand what you're talking about.
Well, I remember we started recording music in Cool Edit Pro.
Yeah. That's another one that I had.
Which became Adobe Audition later on. Basically, Adobe bought them out and changed the name and cleaned up the look of the program. But like, I don't know, it's dope. We didn't have an interface. At that point, we were recording like in through the mini microphone jack.
Yeah.
And like, we got it done. It was hood, and the program was free. Back in the day, me and my homies we always called our shit 25-cent studios because it was all thrown together from pieces we could find and different shit and free programs and microphones from the flea market. And we made decent music.
Yeah.
Almost nothing.
If you know how to use it, and if you have that passion, you know what I mean? Just from this short time that I've talked with you, like I can tell that you have that like raw passion for hip hop, that same kind of passion that I have, that a lot of people have, that it really doesn't matter, what happens with the music. It matters that you're making music and that you're contributing to something that you love. And, that really comes through with a lot of things that you make. And I think that, I was getting at a point and I got too high, but
you good? Smoke again.
Yeah.
Should we take a smoke break?
Yeah.
I gotta pour another sake. What do you guys like to drink? You guys, craft beer heads, You guys like Hennessy? What do you guys like to sip on?
We don't drink, actually.
Yeah.
No drinking at all?
No.
No, I drink maybe once a year.
I don't drink at all.
And when I do drink, I'll drink a Newcastle.
Okay.
I drink marijuana concentrates.
Yeah.
That's my drink. It's a smoke.
Nice. Have you guys ever heard of Chakawaska?
No.
No. But it sounds awesome.
So I have a buddy up in the Bay Area who's homie of a homie who makes this drink called Chakawaska.
Dang. So does it have anything to do with ayahuasca?
No, it does not.
Okay.
It's an herbal infused, basically chocolate hemp milk, and they have a bunch of different flavors.
Dang.
And it comes in like this little milk bottle, and
It sounds awesome.
it's super smooth, like this chocolate milkshake. You keep it in the fridge, and it's good. It hits you like much nicer than edibles.
Oh,
Damn.
yeah.
Have you guys had this tree lean?
No,
No,
but
but I've
I
seen
want
it,
to,
yeah.
actually. I heard it was good.
Me too. I follow them on Instagram, and I think it's a cool idea to be able to have this
It's
elixir that I can just sip on and get nice without having to smoke. Or
Yeah.
like if I'm in a place where I want to smoke, but I can't because it smells like Indonesia,
Oh, yeah.
I could just pull out some free lean, pour it into my favorite soda.
Yeah.
That's what I've
It's
had
awesome.
one. I've had one that we have around here locally called Canaline, and it's
Okay.
it's essentially the same thing. And the bottle is like some ridiculous like 6,000 milligrams or something like that. So it's literally like, you know, a cap full is gonna be the same as eating a 200 milligram chocolate bar. And you just pour it into whatever you're drinking, drink it, and that shit fucks you up beyond belief. To where it's like, I've never been as high as I was when I was drinking that shit. And that's a true statement. I'm not
That's
just
good.
exaggerating.
That's the way it should be.
People are always like, I was never that high in my life before. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that was the highest I've ever been for real.
Yeah. Shout out to Canaline.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about super high, have you guys ever tripped off of marijuana?
No.
Never
I've had like a fucking panic attack from like a fucking too
Like
big of a dab
like
once.
tripped in
It was
what
actually
way?
the first dab.
Not tripping like a panic attack, tripping like psychedelic rainbow colors.
No, not at all.
No.
So
It
you
is
always
possible.
you always hear that marijuana is psychoactive and is that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can catch it. So I was in this place where like I was partying way too hard. I needed to chill. So I took like 6 months off from everything.
Uh-huh.
And I just like posted and meditated and cleansed and drank a bunch of green smoothies. And then
Yeah, you need it sometimes.
the festival in my hometown called the Grassroots Festival in Ithaca, New York happened. And it's like reggae and hip hop and rock and roll. And it's a camp out all weekend. And it's right near harvest time. And a bunch of people in Tompkins County, New York and Ithaca grow like number 12 outdoor on a, cannabis list or something.
Uh-huh.
And so I went to the festival and I ran into like all the homies and I in like 2 hours, I smoked like 30 times or something.
Yeah.
And I had to sit down
Yeah.
because I'm so zooted, right?
Yeah.
So I like, it was just getting dark and I come up out of the tent that I'm in and the whole world paused for this quick second and everything went crystal rainbow kaleidoscope, slow motion. And like it tilted and I was stuck standing and I like slipped down onto like this camping chair and literally tripped like I was on L for 45 minutes.
Okay. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I know what happened. You smoked 30 times with all these different people at a Grassroots Music Festival. You smoked something that was laced 100%.
Yeah.
Not in this case because these are all my friends and I was
fucking
complete.
salvia.
No, I'm
Or
telling
some
you, it
sort
was
of like
not that.
angel dust or something.
No, we're just
No,
fucking.
no, because I came down quick enough. If it was angel dust, I would have been dusted
Yeah.
the whole night.
Yeah, no, that's a trip, man. I've always heard that it was possible, but I heard that it was supposed to be through edibles.
Yeah, because when you eat it and it gets processed by your liver, it's 16 times more psychoactive than when you smoke it.
Yeah.
So,
My experience with too much edibles is you just go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Before-
mine too. That's also.
I had I had this experience where it was Tribe Called Quest and De La, and they were playing at Ithaca College, and me and my homie made a tray of brownies, and they were really strong. It was like a quarter pound of dirt weed or something in there.
That's like you're eating a brick of weed.
Seriously, and like we our intention was to eat one brownie, right? But like somehow me and my homie and his girlfriend finished half the tray. So like 2 ounces for 3 people of 120, 30 pounds. And like we were going to the concert and we were feeling so good. And then the next thing I remember is I'm with my head fallen back over in the balcony, passed out. I wake up looking at the person behind me. And I'm like dazed. And I look over the balcony and we had seats separated because the show was sold out. And my boy was in the lower box and he was passed out too. And I just remember laughing at him and De La on the stage and then passing out again. And then like somebody slapped me 2 hours later, like, bro, you missed the show. What happened?
That's fucking awesome.
Yep. You got to be careful, man.
That's awesome.
Edibles are intense. They'll definitely ruin your day.
Yeah.
So,
hey, you got to fight it though. That's how you get the trip.
Yeah.
If you can fight and stay awake, it's like same thing like you pop an Ambien and then
like
stay awake.
Or like NyQuil.
Yeah, you know, you got to fight that shit to stay awake, but I can't fight it. I just melt right in.
Then it gets weird.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we started this, Joey and I were watching some videos on YouTube that you and another dude have been doing. It's what is this? Explain it to us. It's a TV show or like a web series?
So this is how it started. So I have a little blog on YouTube under the Illtext channel, ILLTEXT, one word. And I was managing a vegan restaurant in Oakland, California. It was a little kiosk restaurant inside of Whole Foods Market. And it was like this big kind of downtown Whole Foods Market in Oakland. Lots of crazy people from Africa and all over the world and shit. And I started doing segments about food, and especially raw vegan food, because I was inspired by where I was working, and I was preparing a lot of different stuff and making raw chocolate. And so I started like doing these videos of me preparing foods, and was working on with my homie Pachow, who's the other cat from the show, Paul Bancroft, who was my coworker at the restaurant. Me and him would like freestyle before work sometimes and after work, and we started working on some music together. Me and him formed a group called the Colorful Kids. And one day we were coming off of work and we were going to the studio to work on a Colorful Kids track. And I was like, yeah, we just bought, we're going to go into Whole Foods and get some snacks. Let's do a quick video about healthy snacks and tell the people on YouTube what we like to eat that makes us feel good. So this little 1.5-minute video was me and my homie talking about healthy snacks and what we like to eat that keeps us sustained and feeling vibrant. And it went into a bunch of, like, my boy likes to speak in like what we call, our language is called Breve Nation or Breve Nation, which is like shorten up your sentences, chop up your sounds. So you make all your words as short as possible. And he's like, yeah, we want to eat the goji bears and the pomegranates and the blueberries and the pineapples and just like shortened up words. And the video got seen by YouTube, and YouTube messaged me and said, we think your video has viral potentials and we want to partner with you, 60-40 split, and we'll push your video.
Dang.
So I signed an e-contract with YouTube, and like in 3 weeks or a month, it went from 1,200 plays to 12,000 plays.
Damn.
And I was getting like little comments and shit. There's one line about local organic bananas in Oakland, and over everybody's like, where are there local organic bananas in Oakland? So all these comments about really local organic bananas in Oakland.
Yeah.
I don't know. But one of the comments on the video was like, hey, my name is Dominic Russo. I'm the producer for Workaholics, and my homie showed me this video, and I think you guys are awesome. And I want to talk to you about a possible TV show. Hit me up.
Dang.
And at that point, I hadn't seen Workaholics. I didn't even know what it was.
Uh-huh.
So then I started checking out. I was like, well, this is this funky stoner show about people at work and shit. Like, this is funny. So then I started looking at it. I was like, well, this is like a #1 hit show on Comedy Central.
Yeah,
big.
One of my favorite shows.
And then I was like, wow, this is awesome. So I contacted him and he messaged me right back. And we got off of message onto a phone call. And then I started just chopping it up with him about like the record label and what I do and the music and me and the homie and all that. And he was like, wow, well, now I'm seeing like a whole TV show beyond just some food show with you and your homie. And let's schedule a time and I'll get a videographer and we'll come up for like a weekend or 4 or 5 days and we'll just shoot a bunch of footage and try to put together a pilot.
So did that happen?
So that happened. Yeah, that happened. When I was actually out in Florida is when that finally came together. So I flew back to Oakland and shot like 5 days in a row for 6 to 10 hours in like 30 locations all over Oakland and San Francisco.
So was this just you guys were shooting whatever you wanted to shoot, or did they have stuff that they wanted you to do, or they just sent people to record you doing your thing?
Well, so as you can see in the video, me and my homie's clothing is pretty outrageous and colorful, wild. And that's our style, and that's like our thing for the group, the Colorful Kids. And when we were performing, we just even splashed that color even crazier because people really enjoyed it. And like we'd get stopped on the street like celebrities and people waving to us. And I don't know, it was just fun, like this color. So we started putting the colors on even more. Uh-huh. And my bad. Putting the colors on even more. No. And
it's all right. Now we're even.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, I got to smoke more.
Yeah.
So yeah, we.
So was it just your guys' original content?
Right. So in the beginning, basically what they had us do was just put on our crazy gear, and we had like 30 outfits in the car. So every location we changed outfits to make it more funky, and just basically go to places like the farmer's market or a pizzeria shop, or just walking down the street and interact with people and try to give people healthy snacks for free. Okay. And like talk about whatever. So that's kind of how the show came about, is they were just like, well, we're just going to follow you guys, do your thing.
Cool.
Were people like abrasive? Did they like easily take your fucking snacks? Or were they like, fuck you, dude, I don't know you?
It helps that there's a camera crew.
Most people were a little bit weirded by the snacks. Definitely had, because you're like reaching into somebody's rainbow backpack and you're pulling out some snacks.
For sure. They're like, nah.
It was all packaged, really expensive, raw, vegan, organic food from Whole Foods with like labels on it. So it wasn't like we were giving them a pack of trail mix with a razor blade in it.
Or like a mixed drink or like some type of made fucking thing right there.
A mason jar.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just shot a bunch of footage, and then they took all the footage and they made all those videos that you guys seen on the website. The website is what's Jood, JOOD.com. And that's basically where our pilots are and all the episodes. And we've been shopping it around to different places for the last 2 years. And just last month, there's a company called Gorilla Flicks, which is affiliated with Dick House Productions. They did all the Jackass movies.
Yeah.
And they looked at our video and they really liked it, but they didn't know where to go with it. And they looked at it again and they liked it and they had some ideas. So we started to rewrite kind of like a structure around like a food truck, and the show follows us with like a juice truck around to different towns, and we splash these rainbow colors to people serving out fresh juices. Nice. And that was like kind of where it went. And now recently we just signed a contract with Gorilla Flicks, and they're helping us restructure, and then they're going to help us promote it to bigger television venues. And maybe we could get it on the new Vice network on cable, or even Vice on YouTube would be dope, or MTV2, or Comedy Central would be amazing. But that's high hopes.
Yeah.
But we have some options.
It'd be fresh. I think it has a lot of potential, man.
Cool, man. I'm glad you guys liked it. It's silly, it's fun, it's happy, it's colorful. And the other thing about it is, once the show actually gets aired, I'm going to be playing Trap-A-Lot Mafia exclusives all through the show. So there's going to be like a backdrop of trap music for the show.
That's cool.
And I also have an idea about like a segment where we'll bring in producers and different performers and like have like a little stage and showcase music and shit too. You guys can come on to rock out.
Hell yeah. We'd be more than happy to do that.
Yeah, it seems like fun.
I really, I'm a fan of the Varsity Dropout stuff, and it's dope that y'all are still working on music and continuing to do your own side projects at the same time.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's getting hectic because we're real busy, but I mean, like, it's always going to work itself out for sure. And I think he's moving here soon, so that will definitely help out a lot. We'll be able to keep it moving.
Yes, sir.
This morning when we were talking, he was definitely talking like y'all are going to start working on a new project. So
yeah.
I definitely want to put some beats down on that, man. I'm going to send you guys whatever I can.
Yeah, most definitely. It's going to be good. We actually got a few things, but we're just trying to keep it under wraps for now.
Oh, a few things, Cuddy.
Mm-hmm. You know how we do it.
Excellent.
Yep. All right, dope. Well, hopefully something comes out of that show, and we're gonna have all the links for that as well as Trap a Lot and your pages in the description.
Oh, man, I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely, man, and we really appreciate you taking the time to come and talk with us.
Yeah,
man, I'm blessed to come and talk with you for sure. Is it cool if I do a couple shout outs on the way out?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So, man, I'd like to shout out my homies I'm working on an album with out here called The Strong Gods. And I'd like to shout out my homie XXV. Just got a beat with Locks, and we're going to be doing a collab with him. Nice. After years of trying to pull it together, he finally was like, that beat is dope. I want to shout out my crew, Hardcastle McCormick from Orlando. We play different shows, and so we're playing a little festival called Elementrix coming up here in Florida in a couple weeks.
What's the date?
You got dates for that? And play dark ass trap music.
You got dates for that show?
It's July 15th. Elementrix. Like 30 DJs, Friday, Saturday, camping, $10 tickets, I think. It's like kind of a local show, no big names, but it's like a small little accessible, cheap festival for folks. So yeah, got the Cali Boy album, the Strong Gods album. I'm working on the Illtext rap album with a bunch of different artists. It's going to feature the track with Joey on that album. And, I'm just continuing to work on beats and freestyling as much as I can.
Nice, man. Well, thanks for coming, dude. It's been awesome getting to hear all your stories and everything. I'm glad you did it. I think like your fans will get another little window into like what you do, and I think that our fans will get to know you as well, and we'll have you on again sometime.
Yeah,
cool, man. I really appreciate that, guys.
Definitely, man.
Have a beautiful afternoon, and keep dabbing. Turn up,
yes, sir.
Every day.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah, peace. And boom goes the dynamite.
Boom.
And I just didn't want to say, and there it is.
And there it was.
That was dope, man. Fucking, I didn't even know that. I mean, we watched episodes of the show on YouTube, and I didn't know that it went that deep at all until I thought it was just something that they recorded for fun. I didn't know that it was actually a pilot that's being shopped around and looks like it's going to get picked up. It'd be dope.
Yeah, and that's like the whole point of doing this.
Mm-hmm. And
right? It's to get that info out there, let people get to know these people.
Yeah, and he seemed like a really good dude.
Yeah, he is. He's awesome.
Fuck yeah.
And I'm super stoked that we got him on, and I'm super stoked that we're going to have a song coming out, and we're going to get you a song with them. And
I know, I'm excited.
It's cool, man. It's cool to squad up, It's cool to, it's cool to, collaborate, really, and that's, the most important thing, so.
Yeah, I agree. So, everybody, go check them out.
Yeah, everybody go collaborate with somebody, too. And that's the real mission, Get outside yourself. Go do something with someone.
You're damn right. That's good advice.
Yeah. Bitches.
Natural Habitat Recording.